back, everybody. After the mass shooting at a high school in Parkland, Florida this past week, students from all over the country are back in class and often dealing with grief and questions, speaking out about policy. Lincoln High School government teacher and Washington State Teacher of the Year, Nate Bowling, talks with educators and students all the time. He is here to share his ideas about teaching and the issues that most affect the students. Welcome, Nate.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here and congratulations. And there's nothing better than a good teacher. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
You said you've been teaching for 12 years. As you see and you've built a lot of trust and obviously, relationships teaching students. What do you see happening with this group of this generation of high school students that has reacted so strongly and in some cases in an unprecedented way to this event?
Well, if I think of my teaching career, I started the year of Virginia Tech, and now we have the shooting here in Florida. And so it's been bracketed by really horrible incidents. This group of students today are digital natives, and they've grown up in the era of social media and seeing this, and they've seen the political inaction, and now they're ready to kind of take the bull by the horns and push a policy, and I think it's long overdue, honestly.
I think a lot of people were surprised to see this much activity from these kids. They are incredibly bold, and last night's CNN town hall was riveting. It sounds like you were less surprised knowing who they are.
I frequently talk about this generation. This generation is better than us. Like, they're just better in every possible way.
Excellent.
They're more optimistic, they're more hopeful, they're less ideological and partisan, and they're problem solvers. And they see a problem they want solved.
I'm so glad to hear this. What is this generation called? They're not millennials anymore, so what are they?
They're called Gen Z, which
Gen Z.
So I'm Gen X, right? And then the millennials were Gen Y.
I must be like Gen A or B because it was a long time ago. So as you teach these kids, what is your philosophy about approaching them as individuals and as a teacher? What do you think has made you so successful at this?
So I don't preach. I have very strong political views that I keep to myself and on my own social media and my own activities. But in the classroom, I put students at the center. And so I spend most of the time asking questions, listening to responses. I want my talk time to be very low, and I want students doing the work.
Right.
I think like a personal trainer, right? Our personal trainer says, this is a workout, now you do it and I'm going to watch you. And so I'm a personal trainer for them academically.
So part of learning government these days is media literacy,
Absolutely.
How to verify information, how to do critical thinking. Whatever you decide you believe is up to you, but having those skills leads you forward. How much time do you spend doing that with them?
We do a lot. We actually have an entire unit on media literacy where we talk about fake news and understanding fake news,
right.
Looking at verified sources. One thing that's happening in the classroom now we're talking about a lot is state government and state power. I think that we underestimate the power of state government sometimes. Essentially, Congress has shown that the current arrangement in Congress is not going to move. Steve Scalise was shot. The congressperson Gabby Giffords in Arizona was shot. Members of Congress have been shot and still no action. And so I'm talking to students a lot about the power of state government. And that's what we're seeing in Florida. They're not going to D.C., they're going to Tallahassee.
Right. Well, and we're seeing more and more of this, right, where there's action in the states on issues that the feds can't move on. So kids are beginning also to understand that they have a voice and they're connected with one another through social media. I feel like we could learn something from that. What do they have to teach us?
Well, there's a lot to learn from this generation. So frankly, right now, there are more millennials than there are baby boomers.
Yes,
but millennials,
I know.
Right? But millennial voter turnout is very low. I think they're being awoken to the importance of politics.
Good.
And there's a wave coming between the millennials and Gen Z, that's going to bring real change to politics. They're going to bring changes that are more fair to people, that are going to bring more equity to the community and more economic justice. And so here's the thing: I have strong views. My students' views aren't my views. I don't try to impose my views on them. But when I listen to them talk, I'd rather live in the world that they want to create than the world we live in today.
I'm so glad to hear that. What do you think has caused that? Where have they learned this? What have they done?
I think every generation gets better, right? I think that my generation progressed from the boomer generation, and I think this group is next. But the thing is they have access to social media, and social media is compressed reality. So they can see everything, everywhere, all the time.
They are learning so much. I mean, I think about growing up and the Dewey Decimal System and going to the library and finding a book that might be outdated, and when I told my son about this, he thought I had said we'd come over in the covered wagon, it was that kind of thing. And so all of human knowledge is on your smartphone, so these kids, I mean, I think their voices really need to be respected. Can you talk to me about that a little bit, what people my age should be doing, saying, not doing, not saying with this generation?
I think one of the biggest mistakes adults make is belittling the ideas of kids. Like the 17 to 18-year-olds, they understand what's happening. They know what's happening. And so for me, they're not carrying out their advocacy the way that I would, but that's not my role to tell them what to do.
Right.
It's their struggle.
Right.
And so I just signal boost as much as possible. So if you have a young person in your life who's passionate, just support them, signal boost them.
I couldn't agree more. I'm glad to hear you say that, and that's good advice. What was your best day teaching?
Oh, man. I would say in 2016, the president of China came to Lincoln High School, and I got to teach a lesson with him and my students about executive power. And then that same week, I was named Teacher of the Year, so that whole week was kind of crazy to me.
Can I come to your class?
Open door. No, open door.
I'd like to be a student.
Room 306, anytime.
Honestly, and I think that you're teaching such an important topic right now where we all need to be more informed. Do you have any advice to us as adults, you know, if we want to continue learning, if we really do want to understand politics, the exercise of power, the electoral system better, what would you advise us to do?
I would say the same thing I say to my students. 1, read your local newspaper. 2, I would say get out of your echo chamber and news bubbles. Don't read what's coming through your algorithm. Like, go out and seek information. Go to websites and read. Don't take what comes to you. And then the last thing is just to engage with people. I feel like there's a kind of closing of society where we have social media and we have like online entertainment. You go watch Netflix, you don't like engage with people. Like, go out and engage. Go to community events.
That sounds like great advice. Thank you so much. Thank you for being a
My
teacher.
pleasure. My pleasure.
And for all you've done and that you will do, because you're still quite young.
Yes.
You're a millennial.
Well, I'm Gen Z, so I'm Gen X by like 3 months.
You're Gen X by 3 months. Okay, I feel like I'm 205. We'll be right back.
Thank you.